Myostatin is a gene that limits muscle growth, beginning in the womb and continuing through life. Mutations in the myostatin gene can cause unregulated muscle growth, which is what happens in these Belgian blue cattle. These abnormally muscular cattle have a naturally occurring mutation known as myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy in humans. The first human diagnosed with this disease was a German infant exhibiting the same uncontrolled muscle growth. This boy also has myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy, and at 3 years old he can already do the same number of sit-ups as a 6-year-old boy.
UNT syndrome is a mutation in which all the affected individuals' dynamic balance becomes severely impaired during upright walking, causing them to walk on all 4 extremities. They also have primitive speech and severe mental retardation. PET scans showed a decreased glucose metabolic activity in the cerebellum, vermis, and to a lesser extent the cerebral cortex. The VLDLR gene is involved in the reelin pathway, a glycoprotein-regulated mechanism that moderates neuronal positioning, alignment, and migration in the cerebellum. Reelin binds to the VLDLR gene and helps get neuroblasts in the right place in configuration for the cerebellum. The abnormality occurs on this gene on 9p24, which encodes the very low-density lipoprotein receptor, also implicated in another genetic disorder, disequilibrium syndrome, or DESH, where balance and movement problems are also compromised, although no reported cases walk quadrupedally. This mutation seems to be inherited by an autosomal recessive manner and has exhibited an effect on every single family member. The mutation is also thought to be an example of reverse evolution.
Epidermodysplasia verruciformis is a rare inherited disorder that predisposes patients to widespread human papillomavirus infection as well as cutaneous squamous cell carcinomas. Although epidermodysplasia verruciformis is most commonly inherited in an autosomal recessive manner, sporadic, sex-linked, and autosomal dominant inheritance have been described as well. The disease is characterized by widespread skin eruptions of flat, wart-like lesions and reddish-brown pigmented plaques on the trunk, the hands, the upper and lower extremities, and the face. It is often described as a tree man-like presentation. Skin cancers initially appear on sun-exposed areas such as the face, neck, chest, and arms. Patients with the disease are usually infected with multiple types of HPV, including common types that affect individuals without epidermodysplasia and those that are unique to the disease. Epidermodysplasia verruciformis is linked to defective cell-mediated immunity with elucidation of mutations in EVER1 and EVER2 genes. Their gene products are integral membrane proteins localized to the endoplasmic reticulum. However, an estimated 25% of patients with the disease lack mutations in EVER1 and EVER2, with the genetic defect in these patients not yet elucidated. No therapy for the disease is definitive. Treatment of epidermodysplasia verruciformis includes preventative measures, the most important of which is strict sun avoidance and protection beginning as soon as the diagnosis is made.
Alright, our next genetic mutation is absolute pitch, which is also referred to as perfect pitch. It is an integrated cognitive trait involved in musical perception. This trait is defined as the ability to identify the pitch of a musical tone without an external reference pitch to be considered. An absolute pitch processor and an individual must have the ability to identify pitches accurately and instantaneously. And here is the video of an example.
We're going to tell you about the start of the search for the gene or genes for absolute pitch. The one thing, the only thing I know about absolute pitch, or perfect pitch as it is sometimes called, is that I don't have it. There are a few lucky people who do. In San Francisco, researchers are collecting blood samples from such musically talented people. It is the beginning phase of a project to see if there is such a thing as the musical gene. In the world of classical music, concert pianist Roy Bogus is a true virtuoso. In fact, Roy was a child prodigy who performed a Mozart concerto when he was only 6.
It was like a magnet that drew me to it, whereas most children will have favorite toys and games they like to play and things like to do with their friends down the street or whatever. I always wanted to go to the piano and play it. That was my overriding interest. I'd rather do that than anything else almost, including eat.
But it's not his musical talent that's of interest to scientists. It's another remarkable gift. Roy has absolute pitch, the ability to recognize musical tones without the aid of any external reference.